So, as a chef, just before lunch, I'm going to talk to you about food, make you all hungry. So, I understand the emotion that's coming out now. I'm going to be, as far as possible, trying to be on time so you guys get to a nice, hot, good lunch. And we're going to talk about India from the Indus Valley to the modern civilization. I think all of you have been more recently in school than I have been. And most of you understand and remember the Indus Valley civilization. We basically started off with the Aryan era, where food started getting cooked on charcoal fires. The earliest recorded civilizations where we had food coming in, we had gruel, we had stews, we had flatbreads on charcoal. And then we had the Dravidian era, which was more of food where we had millets. That's around the time the kanji started getting made. There's the story of tamarind. How many of you know about tamarind? Okay, so the story here is that tamarind came to us from Madagascar. Okay, but if tamarind came to us from Madagascar all the way back in 1500 BC, we had tamarind used in items like puliogare, which is a tamarind rice in the south. How did tamarind come there if it came to us from Madagascar much later? Anybody? Africa was part of India until the continent separated and Africa went away. And if you're looking at it, food over there is very, very similar. You have dosa-like items called injera. You have rice items like the jollof pulav. Okay, and India and Africa have a lot of the South Indian Dravidian community and the Africans actually have similar features and festivals. They have something which we consume a lot in the South, like curd. They make with goat's milk. Okay? So are you seeing the similarities that are coming out? That it was one continent at one point in time, separated, and there is a high probability it will come back and join sometime in the future. So moving on, we're talking about the early influences of food that came in from the Greek, the Persians, and the Arabs. Okay, when we're talking about food from here, Greek, all of you know about Alexander who came into India and he traveled the route. There is this story of how fenugreek came to India from the Greeks, and there is scriptures which show that fenugreek went to Rome first from the south of India because some of the Romans were actually Indians who traveled and the origin started there. Whichever one is true, I love my methi and my parathas with methi in it. Okay? And Arabs and the Turks coming in, we had kebabs. The first kebabs, nice, juicy, marinated for long times, slow cooked. And then when the Arabs came in, biryani. The first few milk sweets, there's a lot of rich sweets coming in. I mean, how many of you like sweets? Okay, so there you go. You can thank the Arabs for that. Okay, spices that came in, we had saffron, we had a lot of these things coming in, and spice roots. Now, anybody getting hungry? I'm doing a good job, aren't I? We had the Turks coming in and the Mughals, and this is when life started getting really fun because these guys got in a whole bunch of items like the initial slow marinated kebabs that we're talking about. We're talking about the khubus breads, flat breads, a lot of breads came in. The Mughals, the Mughals brought us a lot of sweet desserts, like say a kulfi, which was not actually Indian, it was brought on by them, the faludas, ice. Okay, and they really started enjoying their food. So the hedonistic lifestyle, which actually is a lifestyle where you celebrate pleasure, and you like to taste and spend some time. So that kind of a lifestyle came along. Until then, food was more of a necessity. People lived to eat. Eat to live, and then they started living to eat. Okay. Real fun starts now. Okay. How many of you love a nice aloo sabzi with tomatoes and chilies? That's not Indian. Potatoes were brought to us in the 17th century by the Portuguese, who also brought us tomatoes, who brought us chilies. So if you're wondering whether we ate what we ate before tomatoes, chilies, and potatoes came in, we didn't eat potatoes, tomatoes, chilies, obviously. But a lot of food started coming in through the Portuguese. We had these ingredients come in. The British bought us our favorite cutlets, breading technologies, custard, something that I really, really love. Okay, and we're going here now, the fun part. Okay, so when we have all these ingredients coming to us, we sit down, a lot of us as chefs have a tendency to be very strongly biased towards authentic cuisine. This is authentic, this is what it is, this is how it's done. When you start understanding a lot of ingredients which we've been studying over a period of time, for instance, like I told you, tomatoes are not Indian, chili is not Indian. How many of you assume that chili is part of your household? Anybody here live without chilies? Okay, they're not Indian. We used to consume pepper before that. We didn't have spice. The original reason that India actually got colonized and got invaded was for spice, was for pepper. Okay, so the British explorers headed out of Britain looking for spices. They were looking for pepper. The ship kind of turned, went out somewhere else. They landed up in America and they found chilies, what we call chilies today, but at that time it was called pepper. Brought back to Britain. It's spicy, but it looks different. But it delivered the same things. They called it pepper first. And then it became chili pepper. Okay? So, up to now, if you notice, we have a certain history of cuisine going on and stuff. And why am I talking about it? How many people here love idlis? Again, not Indian. How many of you knew this? Anybody? Came down from Indonesia. When the Chola dynasty went out on conquering trip, they headed out all the way to Asia. They go to Vietnam, Indonesia, and they bring back steaming, which was a technology that was not there in India. We didn't have steaming. So if you're looking, when they came back to Bihar, they came to the south of India, all of these places. That is where you will notice a lot of steaming came in. So if you're looking at something called Mada Pita, which is there in Bihar, which is a steamed rice dish, is called Korakata in Tamil Nadu, or Modak in Maharashtra. Okay, but we didn't have utensils to steam before these guys brought them in. They would be steamed on bamboo leaves, and then utensils were created at a later point in time. Does anybody know why I put butter naan and butter chicken over there? Yes, butter naan's not Indian. It's Iranian. We have breads like naan coming down, and originally it was not butter naan. It was oil naan or plain naan. Okay, how many of you have been to the US where people keep saying naan bread or chai tea? Naan is bread. Chai is tea. You don't say that again. And butter chicken was kind of developed in Delhi when a very inventive chef in Moti Mahal picked up chicken tikka pieces which are getting discarded in large quantities, threw a little bit of tomato gravy, some butter and some cream. And he made a very tasty dish of something that had been put in the garbage bin. Okay? Chicken a la Kiev, despite what the name says, where do you think this came up? Anybody here from Kolkata? Chicken a la Kiev is Kolkata pita cat. Though the name sounds very Russian, it's just someone who was there, a nice, good cook, who decided to put butter inside and then bread it like a cutlet, or like the Bengalis say, kotlet, and then deep fried it, so the butter starts coming out of sauce. Nothing to do with Russia. Pita cat. Okay, this I'm saving for a minute. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself here. And what I want you to know is I'm known as the Mad Chef, really, really proud to be the Mad Chef. I mean, I'm kind of wearing Batman right now because if you ask me, am I Koushik, am I Mad Chef? I am Mad Chef who becomes Koushik occasionally. Okay, I've spent about 25, 30 years working. I have a career that spans from star hotels to cafes to restaurants, consulting, all of those. And I keep telling my team, I haven't worked a single day in my life. A single day I have not worked. I've had fun. Because all along in my life, I've been doing things that I like, I love, and I want to do. So do I need an alarm to wake up? No. Do I need a reason to get out of bed and go to work? No, because I'm not going to work. I'm having fun. What am I doing? I head out, I make dishes, I make brands, we set up systems, we make them work, and all of it is fun. Okay? Why am I saying this now to you? I see a lot of young people here who have career, work, all of these systems put into your head. Excuse the French, but that's a lot of bull. What you need to do is to find your calling. I started off at the age of 5 when I started cooking. I read a comic book called Asterix and Obelix in Spain. I saw cheese fondue. I fell in love with food. Mom and dad not home. Get to the stove, put a dustbin down, turn it, and start putting cheese on the stove and make something. That cheese melted. Okay, how many of you smelled the smell of melted cheese? Awesome, right? Especially when you dip a little bread into it and it's nice and hot. It's like, I got hooked. I love cooking. Okay, down the line, years go by. At my time, dyslexia was termed something else. It was called being stupid, being unintelligent, okay, being dumb. So yeah, I was dumb, stupid, unintelligent, but actually had dyslexia. Math concepts don't get in. I still don't understand them too well. You could sit down and do a sine theta, cos theta, and I'll probably go into a coma. So math, I mean, I understand multiplication, but not like the way you do. For me, multiplication, if you say 150, I understand that 100 into 5 is 500 and 50 into 5 is 250, so 1250, and that's how I'm going to probably get the math together. But if I show it to my kids' maths teachers, they'd be like, this is not the way you work the answer, this is another way. I'm like, I got the answer. No, but where's the method? I don't know. That's why I'm probably the math chef. But so as time went on, and I'm now at 12th, I go up to my dad and I say, I want to do hotel management, I want to become a chef. And we had a 2-year-long fight. Okay, so he was very clear that either I do engineering or something else, but hotel management, being a chef was not allowed. And for about 2 years, I kept writing my 12th standard again and again. I did a PhD. He finally found out, gave me the belting my life and gave me a choice. He said, either you can stay home and do your civil engineering or get out and do whatever you want. I got out. Rubber chappals, shorts, t-shirt, went off to Bangalore railway station, stayed there for a few months, worked as a coolie, did market research, all kinds of odd jobs. And guess what? I found out that stepping out of home at the age of 15, 16 was the best gift my dad gave me. Because as long as I was staying home, I have protection, I have rules, regulations, I have systems telling me who I have to be, what I have to be, what I have to eat, when I have to eat, what I should do, what I cannot do. Okay? And the world is all about telling you what you can't do. It's not about telling you what you can do. Excuse me. So over time, I mean, a little bit of an arrogant journey. When I step out at 15, I start making ends meet. I'm making money enough to survive. I'm making enough money to put myself through school, through college, through a career. I start working. There's a lot of arrogance that starts building up with it. Okay, it's basically, it starts saying you know what, you can do anything. And frankly, I'd like to transfer a lot of that to you kids out here, because I see, I have kids your age, they're in school, they're in college. What we have always discussed is, if you feel like doing something, just do it. Okay, life has a way of figuring out what you need to do, where you need to do, and how you need to be, some or the other. I mean, the beginning seems like a struggle, but I can safely say, doctor, that when you were saying 50, I'm much closer to this than most of the people here. So it kind of has a way of kind of figuring out and finding you at a later point in time. So if you ask me, do I know everything I'm doing? No. I had a conversation with my daughter yesterday. I said, Appa, aren't you so clear about life, you know what you want? I said, no. I'm living in the now. I'm doing what I'm doing. And I hope and assume I'm going to head to wherever I want to go, whenever I want to go. But do I know? I love the way you have a plan set for you, man, from 2016 to, okay, what next, 26. But I've never done that. I've never bothered, because for me, what I learned from life is, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Okay, because you plan and then he does. Okay, but you're lucky if you can stick to the plan that you had. Okay, that leading to paneer makhani samosa. Okay, khaman dokla and khandevi in a modern plating. Okay, and I've got Jhol with Jhol Kolkata, puchkas, pani puri, or whatever that's called. So, and then that was progressive cuisine. Now I have Fanta with Maggi. Like seriously, this is a thing. This is Nutella biryani. Yeah. Gulab jamun pizza. Okay. And then a fried chicken burger with ice cream and maple sauce. Okay. Am I getting reactions now? Okay. How many of you have heard of Kolkata biryani? Okay, Kolkata biryani has a beautiful piece of aloo in it, a lot of stories, but the original story was that the Nawab of Lucknow was exiled to Kolkata around the 17th, 18th century, and potatoes were brought in by the Portuguese. So then, potato was not a cheap ingredient, it was very, very exotic, and the Nawab was given biryani with potato in it, because now it's making it very exotic. Okay, so he is living, he's exiled, he is depressed. What better way to make him feel good? Give him a nice biryani with potato in it. Okay, but today we look at it and we say that biryani with a potato, why? Potato is cheap. Okay, so what happens then and what happens now? What I want to tell you all is very, very important here is what gets you here does not get you there. You start your day, you get moving to a certain place, you have a target, you've reached it. Just when you think you've reached it, that's when you start feeling not happy with having reached the target, and you need to have something to go on to the next level. If you start getting satisfied, if you are comfortable and complacent, and you sit, either you're going to sit and be complacent, or you're going to start getting uncomfortable with it. So keep putting yourself out, getting out there, doing more. Okay, think of aloo biryani, think of gulab jamun pizzas, Nutella biryanis. You never know in another 20, 30 years from now, people could be eating Nutella biryani all the time. Today, will you eat Nutella biryani? Anyone? Okay, I think I just made you all a lot less hungry. Okay, so I'm not very comfortable with public speaking, so I'm like really nervous. I told the kids out there, if I'm seeing your faces, I'm going to be very nervous, and I think I managed to pull it off this far, so if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. Yes, please.
Is the environment in the kitchen really how they show it in the shows?
I don't know what they show on the shows because I don't watch TV. I haven't read a newspaper in 15 years. But it is a hot, stressful, difficult place. You normally cut your fingers. Most chefs wear tattoos to hide the burns and the scars. So it is stressful. But once you get into the kitchen, you like it. I am not comfortable outside a kitchen. This is chaos to me. People are sitting quietly, calmly. No, for me, a real normal life is when the printer is going, we have orders standing and like, hey, skola, skola, skola. That's normal life. This is chaotic for me. Yes, please.
Out of all the creative recipes that you've done, which one is your favorite?
Unfortunately for me, I'm very, very obsessed with this kind of a life. So everything I made even 10 minutes ago, I'm ashamed of now. Okay, so I keep putting myself out. So we were talking about a recipe we're doing at a restaurant. I'm like, no, change the menu. Please change the menu. I don't want to see that again. So I'm waiting for the next one that I'm doing.
What's the craziest thing you have generated, just like pandemic? What you have loved it?
I'm going to tell you this with very good logic, okay? Because you're in coffee. I used to work in a place called Quickies, and we set up about 18 shops all the way back in like 97. Before that, it was Cafe Coffee Day. So the guy who made Cold Sparkle, where I put coconut milk, ginger, jaggery, and coffee, was normal. When I put rose, peppermint, and coffee, was when I was having fun. But why rose, peppermint, and coffee? Because rose is very close to the onion family, brown. It actually works beautifully with coffee, and peppermint goes with it. So it was one very popular drink, as long as I didn't tell people they were drinking rose, peppermint, and coffee. Yes, please.
Do you still enjoy eating food because you're always around?
I used to be 152 kgs. Okay, so I needed 2 tickets on a plane. Most of that couch would have been taken by me. But when my daughter was feeling ashamed to take me to a marathon run, I started transforming about 4 years ago, and I finally hit the 2-digit mark.
Very good.
So I still eat, but way more in control. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Who gave you the name the Mad Chef and why?
Mad because, okay, in college we had a competition, and my chef instructor at that time told me, you should not apply, your communication skills are too good, you should probably get into service or the front office, you won't make it in the kitchen. I said, all the more so because you said that, I am going to apply. And then at that time, putting a fusion of South Indian cuisine with continental was considered sacrilege, but I made a continental pinwheel with rice flour, moong dal ka halwa on a bed of coconut kheer. So he said, this is a fusion dish, no way you'll win the medal, forget it, take it out. I said, chef, if this gets in and gets it, great. If it doesn't, just because you're saying, I'll step out of the kitchen. Almost 30 years ago, I'm still in the kitchen. So what do you think happened? And he said, yes, you are mad. You're a mad chef, and the name kind of stuck. Like I said, the most recent thing that I made was a lot of dishes, but something that I'm feeling proud of. I'd probably talk about an infusion of Indri whiskey with vetiver and spices. Okay, and it tastes like biryani, but it's whiskey. Anything else? I think I'm down with time, and I'm sure we have a lot less time for lunch than before when I started. Thank you all.